Hey everybody, Brandon here from iDub Hockey, joined with Nick, who's the product manager of Protective Head and Face here at CCM. We've got your incredible new JetSpeed FT6 Pro shoulder pad line in front of us today. But before we dive into the incredible new technologies that you guys have introduced, how would you describe the fit profile and that style of player that it's geared for?
So again, when we're talking about JetSpeed, we're talking about a low profile player, right? So when we're talking about this player, someone who's a max mobility, agile, really a puck mover on the ice. I think a very great example of this is Connor McDavid. I think you've heard of him. Honestly, really encapsulate what we're trying to do with our JetSpeed line. These guys are fast, mobile, and really can book it on the ice.
Right on. Now, getting into the FT6 Pro.
Yeah.
You've maintained that JetSpeed DNA with feather-light protection, but you've introduced a new technology this year to maximize breathability and body temperature regulation. So, AirTech thermoregulation system, what is it and how does it benefit that player?
So honestly, you really great explanation to talk about our products, because yeah, we're providing these great AirTech thermoregulation technologies, but elite protection is still mandatory. And when we're talking protective gear, it's super important, and I think it's really important that we keep highlighting it. But yeah, our new technologies this year is the AirTech thermoregulation. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of what it looks inside. So our fantastic team here at CCM, our designers and our developers really tried to figure out what's the best way that we can get airflow inside the gear. So this came in multiple different ways that we tried out, and what we figured out is the best way to get airflow inside the gear is actually creating a space between the gear and your body. That way the gear feels like it's sitting on top of you, but there's actually a nice little corridor for all that airflow to see. For all that airflow to pass. So when we're looking on screen here, you can see that our suspension system leaves a nice little crease behind for that cool air to get all that hot humidity outside your gear. So we're talking our FT6 Pro shoulder pad, we've got 3 locations. You've got inside in the front, you've got it in the back, and then in the biceps to make sure that not only is your gear feeling nice and tight, you have a nice little corridor for that airflow.
Wow, so players who have struggled with being hot and sweaty under their gear, it's going to address that issue.
Absolutely, and come on, who hasn't felt hot when they're on the ice, right?
Seriously.
I think this is something we can all agree. So we're really trying to figure out ways to make sure that when a player gets on the ice, he has fresh feeling gear every time.
And when you're feeling fresh, you're going to be on top of your game, correct?
When you're feeling fresh, you're playing fresh.
That's right. Now, that protection package, something that I really love about the FT6 Pro is there's no plastic.
Oh yeah.
The plastic weighs you down. And so you've incorporated different exposed foams.
Exactly.
Giving you that elite level protection. So could you explain all those different types of foams?
Absolutely. So what's really great about our FT6 Pro is our new Zote foam. So what this does is, it doesn't really absorb sweat. So if I were to dunk this shoulder pad inside a bucket of water and pull it out, it's just gonna let go of all that sweat, right? If you look at a traditional built elbow pad, it's gonna soak it in, it's gonna gain a lot of weight. What's really great about this shoulder pad is when you're gonna be in that third period, your gear feels the same way as when you first started the game. I think that's really important to talk when we're talking about our FT6 Pro, 100%. That fresh feeling gear.
Oh, totally. So you have the U-foam shoulder cap.
Exactly.
Giving you that elite level impact protection still, so they can still dish out that big hit.
Exactly. So we're, again, JetSpeed, like all about mobility, right? But that protection story is still super important because, yeah, players can book it on the ice, but they also hit like a train, right? If you look at Connor McDavid, a lot of speed, right? So we got to protect those shoulders of his, right?
Exactly.
So this is where our ultra-light U-foam shoulder caps really come in to help absorb that energy and better help distribute it around the shoulder cap.
You also just mentioned mobility is key as well, and the jacket itself has incredible mobility.
Exactly.
So what was the design process there?
So when you think about our Flex Motion jacket, you see that as you're moving, right, every piece is working nicely together to make sure that when you're crossover, when you're stick handling, all these movements, the gear isn't restricting you. The gear is just allowing you to be more of you, right? We just want to enable the player to be as good as he can be.
Right, awesome. And it keeps that protection where it needs to be, correct?
There you go.
Now the FT6 Pro also has a very unique liner. It's treated with Polygen.
Absolutely.
So what exactly is going on?
So getting airflow inside your gear is all in great, but after your game, right, you still have that, your gear's still gonna sit in that hot, sweaty bag, so you gotta make sure that when all that gear is gonna be inside your bag, you really gotta make sure it stays clean and you have those antibacterial properties. So this is where Polygen comes in to get to treat all that built up moisture that, yeah, got wicked away with by the AirTech thermoregulation system, but you still have that smell that'll stay on the suspension system. So this is where Polygen comes in and really gets rid of it, so your gear is fresh after that game.
Right on. And then last but not least, the linerless liner.
Pretty great, right?
Yeah. So what does that do for the player?
So honestly, what's really great about having no liner inside your gear is that there's no way for that moisture to go, right? It's not sitting everywhere, it's not building everywhere. There's only one place for it to go, it's out. That's the only place we're letting that sweat build up, and this is what's really great about our shoulder pad is that it doesn't weigh you down game in and game out.
Wow, incredible. Well, we're looking at the FT6, the next price point. Incredible elite level protection, mobility, and comfort still at this level. So bringing a lot of features down as well. So could you highlight those key features that the FT6 has?
All right, so when we're looking at our FT6, so what's really great about this product is, once again, when we're talking about our stories, so you have our top innovations for the top price point. How do we make these products more affordable that we can actually decline these technologies in meaningful ways all across our lineup? Right. So when we're looking at our FT6 product, in terms of AirTech thermoregulation system, you'll actually have AirTech suspension system on the front and back, as you could see on here, but you won't have it in the biceps. So compared to the first price point, you'll lose certain parts of AirTech thermoregulation, but you'll still get an elite level of airflow. Just saying that the FT6 Pro gives you that maximum level of airflow compared to the FT6.
Right on.
And in terms of foams, for sure, we're gonna have our more traditional foams at the lower end, at the lower part of the shoulder pad, but we'll still have that nice exposed foams all around that flex motion jacket to make sure that you're still buying an elite mobile shoulder pad for those elite players on the ice.
Absolutely amazing. Still keeping the U-foam, exposed foams there to keep it lightweight from the puck drop at final buzzer.
Absolutely.
And then in terms of the liner itself, what's going on there?
So, as I mentioned, we have our Zote foam on the side for our flex motion jacket, but when we're looking at the bottom, we're going to be looking at a more traditional sort of liner on our FT6 Pro. But what's really great is that it's perforated, so it actually allows for a lot of breathability. So we're not reverting back to a really old build. This is actually a new build where we're still maintaining that level of airflow for an elite product, right?
Right. And then the jacket itself still maintains that flex motion jacket?
Exactly. Wow. Again, this gear is really making sure that the gear is not hindering you as you perform, right? So if you're a mobile player, this gear is only allowing you to be more mobile. We're not removing, we're not disabling, we're just enabling the player.
Incredible. So elite level package for that elite level player, but if they want all the bells and whistles, they'll look at the FT6
Exactly.
Pro.
Still an elite product.
Right on. Last but not least, we have the 680. Incredible value here for a ton of players.
Exactly.
From the recreational to highly competitive player, looking for something affordable and that JetSpeed DNA. So Can you walk us through the 680?
Absolutely. So when we're talking about our FT680, more of a traditional shoulder pad, right? So you're looking at our two-piece jacket over here to make sure you got that mobility when you're on the ice. You won't have the exposed Zote foam on the side, but we still have our perforated foams to make sure that they actually breathe through. So even though you don't have these incredible AirTech thermoregulation pieces, you still have parts of that story through breathability, right? Because there's a lot of ways we can get ventilation going. It doesn't have to have all the bells and whistles. You can still get a lot of that technology at a lower price point.
That's incredible. Nick, absolutely incredible
Always
line.
a pleasure.
And thanks for having us out here.
Thanks for being here.
And for you at home, if you want to get your hands on this new JetSpeed FT6 Pro line, you can head over to icewarehouse.com.